Hi, this is Greg McKee again, coming at you with another installment of Operating in the Creative. Excuse me, something that's on my mind right now is what it concerns operating in the fourth dimension. Now, let me explain a little bit what operating in the fourth dimension is. Operating in the fourth dimension is basically operating in the metaphysical realm. And in the Christian Bible, the Christian concept of operating in the metaphysical is found in the book of, let me see, 1 Corinthians. I need a flashlight because it's kind of dim around here. 1 Corinthians chapter 12. And in verse 4, this is what it says. It says, and I'm using, I forget which version. Let's see. Life Application Study Bible. It says, there are diversities of gifts, but the same Spirit. There are differences of ministries, but the same Lord. And there are diversities of activities, but it is the same God who works all in all. But the manifestation of the Spirit is given to each one for the profit of all. All right, but for to one is given the word of wisdom through the Spirit, to another the word of knowledge through the same Spirit, to another faith by the same Spirit, to another gifts of healings by the same Spirit, to another the working of miracles, to another prophecy, to another discerning of spirits, to another different kinds of tongues, to another interpretation of tongues. But one and the same Spirit works all these things, distributing to each one individually as He wills. All right, so that's just the Christian interpretation of it. There are, even in the Bible, that is not all inclusive of the quote-unquote gifts of the Spirit, or manifesting or operating in the metaphysical. Those aren't the only ones that are actually listed in the Bible. You have, like, for instance, Elijah and Elijah. They basically did They basically did a form of astral travel. Elijah basically astral traveled when he was, and Enoch as well, were basically astral traveled basically out of this third dimension. They transformed from the third dimension into higher dimensions, and were never seen or heard from again. All right, and the problem with Christianity is that unless it's written in the Bible, they think it's demonic, and that's not true. Other forms of operating in the metaphysical is like levitation, like I said, astral travel. I don't know. There's a lot. There's a lot I can mention. But that, just because it's not listed in the Bible doesn't mean that it's not something that we are not allowed to do. It doesn't mean that it's demonic. But I made this video because when I was a teenager, an early teenager, and even through my when I was an early teenager, I explored operating in the metaphysical by doing such things as astral travel, astral projection, and clairvoyance, ESP, and a whole bunch of other things like that. I asked God to allow me to do that so I can experience it and know, what it was like. But the problem sometimes is that some people want to operate in the metaphysical, and they do not have good purposes for doing so. They want to use it for personal gain. They want to use it to get back at others. and just ill motives. And I just want to caution against that. Um, oh, yeah, another thing that I did, that I experienced, was being able to levitate. Right, and not me so much. I actually was able to levitate other people. And if you think I'm joking, the government even knows about it. Some government officials were present at some times when I did things like this. And I believe I've made videos in the past, or I made comments in the past, at least on Facebook, where I have stated that the CIA and the FBI have known about me at least since I was 8 years old, because of some things that I experienced, and uh, some giftings that I had and things of that sort. And in my early 20s, I, well, mid 20s, early 30s, I became friends with an extremely high government official who told me that, when I told her some of these things, checked, she fact checked to see if what I said was true. And she came back she told me a few months later that she would never doubt me again, that she knew that either, the things that I told her, they were either true, or I needed to be put in a mental institute for the rest of my life. And when she found out they were true, she said she would never doubt me again. So the things that I'm talking about, just about everything that I've mentioned, as far as the spiritual gifts, or operating in the metaphysical, just now, all of those things that I mentioned, I have experienced and experience in. All right, personal experience. So I'm not joking. All right, but I never misused it. I never abused it, misused it. I never used it against anybody. If anything, I use it to help people, or sometimes I use it for self-defense. But I just want to warn people, because we're in an age right now where we're in an age of the revealing of the universal consciousness. And the universal consciousness deals with the metaphysical. It deals with a person being able to tap into their pre-conscious, and even, which is deeper than the subconscious, and even consciousness farther, and deeper than the pre-conscious. So when I just want to give a little warning that when and if you begin to seek operating in these higher dimensions, I just warn you not to abuse the things that you learn. Never abuse what you learn. Otherwise, there's a thing called karma that'll come back and bite you. And I've never had that happen, because I've never abused any of the spiritual gifts or the manifestations of the metaphysical that I've been able to operate in. Never abused it, because I've always known that if you abuse something or misuse something, then it'll come back to bite you. So if you have any comments, questions, or concerns, feel free to comment. Leave a comment with me, and I'll do my best to explain, maybe in more detail, uh, how a person can actually operate in fourth dimensional reality. All right, but those fourth dimensional, of course, is higher than third dimension. Third dimension is just this physical realm, and people trying to survive, trying to get resources to survive. People operating in the competitive, whereas the the fourth dimension is a tool that you can use to cross over into fifth dimensional reality. The fifth dimensional reality is operating in love. So, and in order to operate fully in fifth dimensional reality, a person needs to doesn't need to exactly master the fourth dimension, but you need to be able to use the fourth dimensional reality in a way that is not harmful to you or other people. The universe has a way of checks and balances. So if something or somebody misuses something, then the universe has a way of either correcting that or or you will suffer some kind of, I guess you could say, lack of a better word, punishment, or some kind of thing to attempt to try to keep you from abusing it. So, I encourage people to be curious and to learn to operate in the fourth dimensional reality, because it's awesome. It's an awesome thing to be able to do things like that. It's an awesome thing to be able to use it in the third dimension so that you can better yourself. There's nothing wrong with using fourth dimensional reality to help you in this third dimension reality, as long as you don't abuse it, misuse it, or or use it to mistreat others. So that's what was on my mind, and that's what I wanted to talk about. Again, if you have any comments, questions, or concerns, leave me a comment and I'll be glad to respond. Thank you, and have a great day.